Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and I am here for another FU Pay Me replay review on Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever, and once again joined by my esteemed co-host, Thurnis.
That was a long pause, but hello!
I forgot your name for a second.
Oh.
I was like,
Oh.
wait,
Okay.
what's his name? What's his name? What am I supposed to say here?
I was like, am I supposed to introduce myself here?
I mean, if I do that ever again, just introduce yourself. So,
Noted.
Today you might be wondering who we are reviewing. It is the esteemed he's my peer. His name is TCOP. He makes videos on YouTube too, mostly about FAF. Does casts. Go check him out. Otherwise, yeah, we're just going to be watching his opener, and I guess I should probably go back to a normal screen to look at this. First engineer is told to go... Why there? Why is your rally point here? Pro tip, move your rally point when you're building the factory. Just move it to the hydro if you're going to do a hydro rush. Also, I love that in replays. And mess with the replays.
He's got a very tank-heavy factory queue. That might be why he's doing that.
Yeah, but right now, it's 1 minute. You have time to micro the rally point of your factory. That's just like, it's a little thing, but little things like that little effort things like that really get you in the mind space of being hyper-focused on the game, I feel. At least for me, like, just doing those little things makes me focus a little bit more on the big picture and what I need to do and everything I need to do. Just remember
Props to
things.
him. He's doing manual reclaim on the rocks around his base.
That is good. It'd be nice to, it's also a nice idea to, if you get the advanced, or the additional camera stuff, you can have the extra ring, and you can do queues where you right-click and you just do everything inside a ring, and then you just move a little bit more and right-click and do it all. That's how I've been doing manual reclaim. But yeah, very much so props to him. He's really on top of getting reclaim with the first engineer. Looks like he's going to have power issues. He's going for his second factory, and it's an air factory, without building any P-gens other than the hydro.
So as long as he doesn't run it immediately, he won't run into any issues.
As long as he doesn't build air units, you can build engineers, but he immediately starts building prowlers, which this is a mass stall waiting to happen. 100%.
Yeah,
or power stall, not mass stall.
He's building mexes. He's even going to be building a radar with one of his forward-ish engies.
Yeah, I think you're a little bit ahead of me.
To run this. No, I'm not.
Oh no, you're not. Okay. Well, that radar is a little bit off. It's still 1:25. You have plenty of time to fix your power by that.
He's actually got 2 radars. There's one just ahead of his base.
Oh, the second radar, the radar that's further back, is pointless. Then, isn't it? If he's gonna build 2.
No, just because of how small the map is. Well, not how small. The radars don't have a very big range.
Yeah, but I'm still feeling that, like, this radar covers mostly his base. He has vision over most of his. The radar in the front is much more useful, unless he's building 2 radars because he's just assuming the one on the front dies. But even then, I don't think it's a great investment. Personally.
No, it's not. He's been managing his power decently.
Yeah.
It looks like he's finally about to hit a stall because he won't pause his air factory.
And he has
he's
multiple
building
engineers.
New land factories.
He's building new land factories. He has multiple engineers on power. This is a situation where you have all the right ideas. You're just doing them in the wrong order. That's why it's called a build order. The point of a build order is so that you don't have stalls like this. And I'm not saying like have like a set build order for every map. I'm just saying have a build order that doesn't lead to a stall.
Have a general idea that works. Typically,
yeah. I do think that as far as things go, the more I look at this, the more I'm okay with it, because he only stalled power for what, 30, 40 seconds maybe?
Yeah, but still, it's only the first 4 minutes, and that's way too long of a stall.
Yeah. This is me level of stalls. If there is one thing you want to take away from my games, like when you're watching me on stream, the thing I'm good at in this game is making decisions. The thing I'm horrible about is eco. I can't do the macro at all, but I make decisions really well. like when to attack and if I can attack. I make those decisions well. So if you've been watching the streams and trying to learn from that, don't do what I do economically. In fact, I think TCOP's doing better than me on general with not stalling. He's starting to overbuild power. I'm not a huge person who's like, oh, don't overbuild power, it's so bad, because I think overbuilding power and having too much is better than... It's that mentality of having it and not needing it versus needing it and not having it. I'd rather have it and not need it.
The way I see it right now, he's actually bouncing between negative and plus like 60-ish. He has not overbuilt power yet. If he hits mass stall, he's way overbuilt power. If he plans on
he's about to
playing
hit
a
mass
game
stall.
for the mass stall. So now that he's hit mass stall, which
the question is, does the mass
that's
stall
over
stay?
50%. That's almost 100% of his economy in a mass stall.
Yeah,
that's too much.
And he also still has 2 engineers eating at 6 mass a second building power. Admittedly, they're about to stop, which is going to help him out a decent bit, but right now all his overflow is going to do is help
up to help his ally on the left to cut off reinforcements. I think that's a smart play. Definitely is going to smartish.
It is good to help out your allies, especially if you're like TCOP and you're not quite as you're a bit lower rated. I still think it's a good idea to try and help out the higher rated teammates and kind of see what they're doing and just try and play a bit of a supporting role. Also, on this map in particular, I think the 2 middle slots really are designed to support the sides, because pushing through the middle is always a death trap.
Yeah, pushing through the middle on this map, it's not great, especially because what does it matter? There's 5 bases surrounding it.
Yeah.
Units will come from all sides and just destroy it.
Yeah.
Still in a very heavy mass stall. There's lots and lots of reclaim on this map that he could be using. And he's still only reclaimed 180 mass.
Yeah, so he did really good with the manual reclaim, but whenever I control shift right here, you can see
that was it.
There's a lot. Yeah, after that he forgot the concept of reclaim exists.
He's got idle engineers that finish building his tower.
One real practical thing that I think both me and you do, I don't do it this early in the game, but me and you are both a big proponent of building T1 factories closer to the front line simply to build engineers for reclaiming. That's their sole purpose. If you're seeming to have struggle with mass stalling early on, one thing that helps me out a little bit with it is just making sure that one of my factories builds engineers. Whenever I have idle engineers, the first thing I ask myself is, what can I reclaim with these?
He's actually completely stopped building engineers.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to point out. Is like, you can't just stop building engineers. You always need them. This is very much so akin to another recent replay review we did, which by recent I mean like almost a month ago now. But where we were talking about build power and how amazingly awesome it is. RKX, man. Overextending. We're watching our friends overextend a lot.
If you look closely, you're watching me overextend, we're watching Fluffy overextend, we're watching RKX overextend. But that's not about it right now.
Yeah, it's not about that. It's about TCOP and what he can do. He's finally pulled out of the mass stall, and he's building another factory, which is a good reaction to have to, I'm no longer stalling mass, what do I need to spend mass? Factory, good answer. Praise that. But on the other hand, he's about to have all these run-bys coming through. I guess he does have this radar, which is going to help him out.
He actually has a very large problem. There are the raids, and there are also 2 commanders there. 2 gun comms.
Yeah, I don't think he didn't get any he got gun on his comm as well. So he's going to be showing up. Shovel Knight and him both have gun comms, so he can contest this for now. Sure, Shovel Knight's low on HP, but it looks like Fluffy and RKX are pretty disjointed. They're not right next to each other. I think he really needs to deal with this run-by in some capacity. Just have maybe even just rally your new units down to go help deal with it.
Because it looks like it's going to kill his Hydro.
And
which isn't the end of the world because it's so cheap to rebuild.
And that line of power.
But he won't be able to overcharge as consistently.
Yeah.
He's getting a lot of power overflow right now. he's not paying much attention to his base because
Yeah.
he's left his interceptors to die.
Admittedly, the interceptors are tanking damage that would be going to his infrastructure, which it can save him right now.
That is true.
We're ignoring that. Thurnis dying off screen, as always.
Don't worry about it. It's a land map. It happens.
Him helping Shovel Knight here and pushing back the forces of Fluffy and RKX, I think is good. He's not taking too much damage. I think that's more down to luck that RKX didn't focus mexes, is what I'd focus here. Because trying to kill off all these T1 gens is going to take too.
I disagree with that, mainly because they're almost entirely T1 mexes. I see one T2. I believe targeting the power in this case is much more important.
He's going to be getting a lot of overflow, especially considering one of his teammates, I think, is about to finish T2 power.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of overflow, but at the same time, it costs so little mass to rebuild the T1 mechs, it's almost not worth killing them if you're in the main base.
Yeah. True that.
He is actually surviving entirely off of overflow right now.
Yeah, he
getting this stealth upgrade.
He has T2 land as well. Another, just a thing in general that I felt really hindered him in this game, other than the no reclaim, and this could help with the no reclaim after that early bit, is he stopped building land factories at like 3. 3 land factories isn't enough for a land map. You just need more.
No.
Like, the lowest I would say is acceptable, and this is stretching it, is like 5.
Four
I think
producing
5.
units, but one of them needs to be assisted slightly. But yeah, 5. 5 is basically the minimum. You also need to take into account how many nexus you have. But he's got 21 mass income, so that's... He can run 4 without stalling and still have room to play with a little bit of extra mass.
Yeah, and if he retakes these 2 mexes in the back, he could definitely have 5.
Yes, absolutely.
So, just another thing. You can zoom out and you can notice that your teammates are doing really well on this eastern side. If you realize your teammates are doing amazing over here, all you really need to do is lose less than your opponents are on the other side, in my opinion. So I think him still focusing on staying over here and helping out Shovel Knight and him getting more upgrades on the comm. Also, he's building a lot of T2 engineers. You could even start fire basing a little bit if you felt like it. Like, just throw a few PD down to make it harder for T1 spam to move about. I'm not saying build them all in one place, like spread out a few T2 PD.
Just a couple darted Cerberuses do really well against T1 units.
Yeah, and
now with Elshi's showing up on the field, though, that's not as great as a decision.
Yeah. But still, just the point I'm trying to get across is that whenever you realize that your team is winning and you're playing weak side, all you need to do is be the biggest road bump you can. Because realistically right now, him and Shovel Knight are so far behind that for them to catch up, it's in the hands of RKX and Fluffy to really mess it up. Like, they have to mess up actively for him and Shovel Knight to get back into the game. So you just have to start playing to be annoying instead of playing to win the land fight. Because it's going to get real difficult real soon to try and win that land fight.
Yeah.
Especially with things like these
especially
PD.
with Triads showing up.
Yeah. It's weird to say, but playing to not lose can be your best option for winning sometimes. And then if you're winning and you're still playing for not losing, that's whenever you mess up. It's just trying to get those mentalities in and help with decision making. Right now, you see 3 Triads, you see that army, just walk back. It's not worth even trying to harass the T1. At this point, it's better to just try and find somewhere else to pressure, maybe throw some units up the middle and see if Fluffy is slacking. But
yeah,
overall,
he doesn't have enough assistance with his ACU.
I think
even with Stealth Gun, if any units get around him, those Triads put in way too much DPS.
Yeah.
And now with this fresh scout going over, you realize, yeah, I don't want to be involved with that.
Another thing that it's really good to sit back and identify is identifying when it's time to be greedy. Right now, like on my mental checklist, right now is the time to upgrade mexes and say fuck unit production for a little bit, because you forced them back. He
doesn't have much of a choice.
Yeah, he's forced them back, along with Shovel Knight. He's bought Shovel Knight some time. Shovel Knight is kind of like a meat shield for him at the moment. They're building PD. They aren't playing aggressively. You just fucking you full on eco right here, and that's one way you can get back into this game. If you eco hard enough, you might start out ecoing your opponent. Especially since you can look at this and see that Fluffy is going to be struggling. He's managing 3 whole bases. Of course, Fluffy is pretty good at multi-basing. So are you. Give yourself a pat on back. Not as good as like a 2K, but you're decent at it. You still there, Thurnus? You went all silent. Alright, I guess Thurnus just had a seizure, so it's just me.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, you're good. What's going on down here? It looks as though Yellow is trying to assist this mex that
Yellow
isn't upgrading.
wanted to, I think, build that mex, is what that looks like to me.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that makes more sense than him trying to assist an ally's mex upgrade. Speaking of MILF Hunter, he's dead. Do you get the base, is the question for TCOP. I don't think so. I think Shovel does. Or Nogthar. Yeah, it's Nogthar who's gonna... Nogthar's in the best spot economically. He's continuing to harass over here. He's gotten pretty good veterancy on the comm, up to 2 vet. Not too shabby. Still needs to be careful with it and doesn't have very much support on it.
Yeah, he definitely does need to be careful. Right now, there have been a few scouts over. I don't know if he's really paid attention to them, but there's nothing there that can kill that ACU.
Yeah.
Commander under attack.
Especially with the addition of these flapjacks and support. I'd love if they moved up their units to assist, but that's okay.
Yeah. Whenever I look at his base, though, I'm just worried because, yet again, there's not enough build power here, in my opinion. Also, all of the work he's done to build more T2 mexes, which he's only gotten 1 and now about to be 2 more T2 mexes since we last looked at it. He doesn't have any TMD to stop a tactical missile. And he also just doesn't have build power. Like, even if he wanted to, he couldn't rush another mex upgrade because he just has 1 T1 engineer. On the entire map, he has 3 T3 engineers on the front building power point defense and 1 T1 engineer on the back. Like,
so what he definitely should do, like we were talking about earlier, is he needs to drop a factory right where his ACU is. Yeah. There is, what is this? For some reason, I can't see it.
3,400
4,000 mass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why, but my my menu bar was over it.
Huh. Strange. But overall, it's starting. They're starting to push out on this western side, which I think is good. I think reclaiming should be a big priority for him right now. You win a battle, reclaim. One of the first thoughts you should have. Another thought you should have is how do I transition this into even a bigger win? Try and snowball
They
things.
need to realize that there is a very large problem on the right flank and do their best to solve it on the left. With the with Brick showing up on the right, Elshis just don't stand up to that.
Yeah.
So they need to be aggressive here.
Nogthar does seem to have a gun comm which can deal with a few bricks, not a lot, but like 4 to 5 bricks. I think a nano gun comm can get through that.
I'd say more, probably 7, 8. But
I was saying
on how much
I was like safely get through 4 to 5.
Oh,
not being in red health, still be relatively healthy and deal.
Okay. Yes.
All right. So yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, like, trying to get in that headspace. What's his plan? Because he's getting T2 mexes, but it's a he's very slowly ecoing. He's still not really producing all that many units because he's on 4 factories, 2 of which are T2, so he's getting some T2 units on the field. But he seems a bit lost. if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think he has a plan right now, in all honesty.
Yeah,
He has no build power. Yeah, he's building out of two T2 factories, but he's got no build power to assist these mexes, no build power to assist the factories. He's building T1 bombers or he stopped building those. He's building inties now.
It very much so seems like he forgot his base exists and is just solely focused on microing the comm and whatever units are happen to be built back at home, whatever he queued forever ago. I think personally his screen right now is mostly focused up here. I don't think he's spending much time in his base.
No, probably not. Especially because he's still got reclaim in his base. He's got
it's a hard thing.
600 mast in his base.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to balance. Like it's one of the harder concepts to get whenever you're newer to FAF, in my opinion, is balancing the time you are looking at your base versus the time you are looking at the front line, because you need to look at both, but playing completely zoomed out is really difficult, specifically with base management. Like you could build things, but getting like adjacency set up properly is hard from really zoomed out and such.
Yeah, you have to zoom in to build, otherwise you just mess things up. It doesn't work. Even the highest rated players zoom in to build. Because you just can't see.
But right now, he's having the opposite problem that I think a lot of really fresh players have. He's really focused on this front line and getting his comm and stuff and doing all this stuff on the front line. He's just forgotten that his base needs engineers to build things. I don't think he's built a structure inside his base in almost 10 minutes.
No, probably not. The best we got is a couple mex upgrades.
Mex upgrades I'm not counting as actually building a structure.
Oh, alright, then
that's
structures.
upgrading.
He
that's
hasn't even
upgrading
he hasn't even rebuilt his power. The only thing he rebuilt was those 2 mexes and his hydro.
Yeah. It definitely feels like he got stuck on this concept of guncom good. Which is
Guncom is good. But if that's his plan, he wants to go for T3 Guncom. The laser boy.
Oh yeah, you know what? But that's a plan. He doesn't have one. His plan is this Guncom wins the game or he dies. It feels.
That is what it feels like.
And I don't know what to say to fix this other than you gotta remember to one, build engineers throughout the entire game. T1 engineers should almost never stop being built the entire game. Not necessarily solely on a factory, but like you should have a T1 engineer and then a tank.
On something.
Yeah, you need a few.
A T1 NG, a couple tanks, or after your air factory queue.
Here's a good way to look at it. Shovel Knight, and we'll just go with UEF engineers because I don't think he inherited another. Oh, well that doesn't work.
He got a lot of aces.
Let's. I'm just looking at stuff on his side. He currently is sitting on. That's annoying. This is all stuff that I think was built over here, or relatively close. He's almost to 100 T1
We'll
engineers.
just say he's got over 100 NGs.
Yeah, and that's not including the bases that he inherits.
He's now reached a new problem, is he's got too much mass. Now he can't spend it, because he's got no build power. This seems to be a recurring theme.
Yeah, he's going...
Build power solves a lot of problems.
Whoa, this T1 factory has some janked up queues. The queue thing in the bottom left is janked. It's claiming it's going to upgrade from T1 to T3 and build bricks.
Huh. That's an interesting queue.
It has the... Oh, it's set to assist the HQ.
Oh.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
So yeah, now he's actually overflowing mass. I wonder if this is because Shovel Knight... No, Shovel Knight's not spending it, but he's not overflowing. So TCOP just needs to spend his math.
At this point, just zoom out, double-click on your mexes, and send them all to T2. I mean, then it just delays the issue, but at least it delays it, and then you're at least overflowing more. Like...
Yeah. He really needs T2 power online. Oh, he's finally got T2 NGs, but what are they doing? Going to the front.
He wants more... He lost the T2 NGs that were building Cerberus, so he has to replace those.
Oh, okay, I see. You mean the ones that are under threat by Mass Tech 2?
Yeah.
And T3? Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, those Cerberus are going to change this entire game, trust me.
I see.
But yeah, it's just... I'm going to speed it up a little bit because I'm honestly just like, if he doesn't decide to develop his base, and there we go, he finally is deciding to develop his base. Why do you have so many flak in this queue? Wait, what? Why do we have 7 flak around your P-Gen and 2 shields? I'm glad you're building in your base again, and you realize that building structures is a key point to winning games.
But that's a lot for one T2 P-Gen. That doesn't even support the T2 P-Gen.
The T2 P-Gen barely is positive after those 2
shields. It
shields.
nets you 300 power. That's not something you want to do. It's 1 shield for 2 T2 P-Gens. That's what you do.
Or 1 shield for 4 if you're feeling spicy and want to see an explosion.
Yeah, well, that's when you upgrade that shield to T3.
So he's bringing his comm forward again, which, with the support of the Percivals, doesn't necessarily immediately die. But it's getting a little bit late for the stealth gun comm to still have any effect on this on these fights. Yeah,
with the fact that a nano gun comm got killed by bricks, you really don't want your stealth gun comm up on the front. Yeah. Especially when it's max vet or close to max vet. There's not much left for it to do.
Yeah. That's I'd like to see these 2 T1 factories either build T1 engineers, which this one apparently is doing now. I'm happy about that. Or tech up, because he's still having, like, he's spending mass better, but he still seems like he's having some struggles with it.
He's still got 2 unupgraded mexes in the back, and he needs to start capping mexes.
I mean, the 2 unupgraded mexes in the back, I don't blame him if he's zoomed out and looking at it. I know this isn't the reasoning, but there's a run by that very possibly gets by and kills off those 2 mexes right now.
Yes, but regardless, those mexes should have been upgraded
a while ago.
A long time ago.
He also has a lot of inties that are yet again on the ground getting shot at by a land army. I don't know if his inties have shot down a single air game. They are soaking damage. Surprisingly, his Cerberus are doing quite well for themselves. That one has 2 kills.
Wow, impressive.
It
for
killed
Cerberus,
2
that's
Ilshis.
insane.
It killed 2 Ilshis. Yeah, dude. Cerberus are so bad that we have to award them for the bare minimum
doing
of point defense. He's gonna have 1 pillar and 1 striker get behind his base and kill off 2 mexes.
Yep,
that's my call.
Recall that. That does happen. Those are gonna die and they're not gonna be responded to.
Yeah.
They did clean up the right side again, or not right, the left side again.
I think the best advice I can give you is just play like Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight's kind of killing it. I really feel that I think he finally has a plan, and his plan is bricks. And you know what? Good plan if you had it 15 minutes ago. But at this point, we're looking at a world where people are going to start building things like Fat Boys. Because the enemy team is already needing to respond to all of these Percivals out from Shovel Knight. So they're going to build things that respond to that. Bricks and Percivals have the same exact counters.
And that's experimentals.
Experimentals, bigger T3 armies. Hell, too many T2 point defense can stop enough of them. And Ravagers, since your opponents do have UEF tech, Ravagers are not out of the question.
No, Ravager creeps are always a pain in the ass, no matter what you're fighting.
Yeah. Oh, his ally has a chicken. A le chicken. I like that he's moving to support the chicken and this push on the right-hand side. I like that he's trying to work with his team. His teammate now. And the assistance on the T3 factory, he's spending his mass again. But a very, I think the word I would use to describe this game is lethargic. It felt very much so...
Very low energy.
Yeah, it felt very much so like, I have 3 APM and I'm gonna use it all on my commander. Which, it's fine to have 3... You can have very low APM. I can't remember who, but there was a really low APM pro back in the day who was killing it. But if you're gonna... You have to learn how to be as efficient as possible with low APM. You don't have to be really fast at the game to be good. You just need to allocate...
Know what you're doing.
You have to allocate that APM very stringently. So if you don't feel that you're gonna be fast at the game, or you can be fast, you have to try and figure out the most efficient actions. And microing units. I think you can get pretty high rated with just moving units at your opponent, as long as you learn how to build more units than your opponent. How to consistently outbuild your opponent is a big part of the game.
Yeah,
But
basically, if you can throw more mass at your opponent than they can at you,
if you can collect more mass
you
than
win.
your opponent and spend it, you generally the team that collects more mass and spends it wins. The exceptions are the games that I cast where the team that got 1 million more mass than the enemy team fumbles it somehow.
Under attack.
Oh,
TCOP just lost one of his T2 mexes.
he's about to lose way more. That's a suspect thing to try and fight with your comm.
Hmm.
And what did he lose a mech
Yeah,
to?
that's
Did he lose it to a
strap
TML?
bomber.
Oh, strap bomber. Also lost a factory.
Yeah, there's a line of just mexes dead.
Oof.
But
Luckily,
still, that doesn't.
he
that
is
doesn't
still.
save them.
This is still good. I like this. Sending all of his units to help that chicken. You can argue that the chicken didn't need the help, but what if there was an army that was there to fight the chicken? Maybe these units, even this mantis, can have an effect in fights like this. The mantis taking a shot from a Percival that would have gone into another better unit is amazing.
Oh yeah.
That's why I've started doing spirit spam into Percivals, because it's fucking cancer.
Oh man, that's the shit that gets annoying because even with advanced target priorities, you can't target priority tech levels,
Yeah.
which is something that I've always wanted to do, but I see why it's not implemented.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't seem balanced.
One thing I'm hoping Sanctuary has is a better base targeting solution for units to where we don't have to worry about things like that. Like for example, in StarCraft 2, certain units will target air units over ground units, like the Thor will always target air units over ground units if they are within range. And things like that, you know? Just little things that make sense, that give each unit its individual purpose. I have no idea how the targeting works in Sanctuary, or how it will work, but that's one thing I'm looking forward to. Not that this video is about Sanctuary, don't know why I brought it up. But yeah, there's not much more advice we can give at this stage. You kind of won because Shovel Knight carried you.
Yeah, this game has, I believe, 5 minutes left in it, or so.
I'm just gonna times 10 it, and let's just get our closing thoughts. What if you had to give him one piece of advice? What would it be? One thing to work on in the next 20 games?
You gotta manage your base more. You gotta develop your base.
Mine is gonna be the
32 minutes in, you don't have enough mass.
Mine's gonna be similar but different. You need more engineers. You need build power. Same as whoever we reviewed last time that didn't build engineers. I don't even remember who it was. But no engineers means a slow and painful death usually. Engineers good, build more. And we're going to be moving on to the next replay review, me and Thurnis. Don't know if this is the end of a video, or the beginning of a video, or if it's its own video. So in case it's its own video, Thank you to the patrons. Y'all are beautiful. In case it's going on to the next video, thank you to the patrons. Y'all are beautiful. And join the channel membership. Like, comment, subscribe, all that bullshit.